Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. Now let's get the show started. Now, the insecurity in the country, particularly the rising cases of kidnapping, made the Senate to invite the Acting Inspector General of Police, Muhammadu Adamu, to a meeting over how to effectively tackle the issue. And the Senate pointed to the case in Kaduna particularly, what happened in Kajuru local government area where a Briton was killed. A Nigerian, Mr. Oguchi, was also killed, and 3 other people were abducted. So this has put greater fear in Nigerians. Where can they feel safe if not in their country? Now, to help us look at this morning, it's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Ezekiel Nia Etuk. Good morning.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
We haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, I went to the village to farm.
So welcome back. Now you should have brought us some.
Yeah, I did. It's outside.
Produce.
I did.
Great. Now, so Ezekiel, it looks like Nigerians are getting more and more worried. Before the Kajuru incident, we'd heard about the Abuja-Kaduna road, which the acting IG tells us is now a safe road. You're smiling, and you live in Abuja, so you'll know more about that. So, are Nigerians overreacting?
Or underreacting?
Oh.
I think that, with all due respect, the problem is much bigger than we know. Mm-hmm. By the time that human life no longer has any value, then we should know that there's a big problem. You know, something happened in Sri Lanka a few days ago, and some lives were lost. What
Many
happened
lives.
next? Yes. No, well, compared to Nigeria, maybe you call it some, you know, because that's what we lose in maybe 2-3 days and on a constant basis. And what did the head of the government do? He put the security chiefs on the line. Now, we've been having the same set of people. Everything has been happening on a daily basis, and human lives have now become mere statistics. Oh, not 5, it was 3. No, it wasn't 3, it was 10. No, it wasn't 10. It was, well, this is the one that they declare. We've come to a point where we are starting to lose the goosebump that comes on you when someone dies, when someone is killed. And when you realize that the Constitution is extremely explicit on what is the essence of government. Chapter 2, section 14, subsection 2b says, the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. If the rail that you are going to commission is not aimed at lifting the people out of poverty, it's not important. If the airline that you want to float is not intended, the intendment is not that the life of the ordinary people is made better, it's not the essence of government. But what do we have? We celebrate all the highfalutin, projects that people, we've completely lost the essence of government and governance. That is why, unfortunately, Nigeria has become the poverty capital of the world. I want you to tell me one governor.
Did you have to refer to that?
Well,
it's such an embarrassment to this country.
I want you to tell me one governor who said, my target is to lift this number of people out of poverty after 4 years. Judge me on that. Starting from the federal to the states. No. I want you to tell me one governor who campaigned based on what we call social governance, which is a bottom-to-top governance approach. I want you to tell me one governor who has his liaison office in each of the local governments of that state. No, but they all have liaison office in Abuja. And I ask a question. Please, which governor was elected to live in Abuja?
To govern from Abuja.
To govern from Abuja. And when the president goes out of the country, some of them talk. As far as your state is concerned, Abuja is outside the country for them. So if you were voted to be in the state, live in, it's like I expect Mr. President to live in Nigeria and do a constant visit to all the states. I expect the state governors to live in their state and do a constant visit to all the local. You'll be shocked that some local governments are visited during election. And we think it's okay. It's not okay.
So for you, it's a fundamental problem,
Oh, yes.
you know, starting from the government. Now let's stay with kidnapping, as
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Over the years, you know, we have heard of cases, high profile, low profile, people being kidnapped. Why do you think it's still continuing?
It's still continuing because it's a very lucrative enterprise that does not have any punitive measures attached to it.
So it's a
Please
low
tell
risk,
me, low risk,
high
high
reward.
yielding, what's the word? The risk value is so low. Okay, it's a good investment. I'm sorry to say that. Now, the judiciary that should be convicting cannot convict until the police has brought the case to them and done the work that they ought to do. And you look at the police, which is supposed to be that primary area that gives us security. Do we pay any premium outside of lip service to the police? We don't. Do we pay any premium as a nation to the police? The army is even more catered for than the police. And when do the army come? When this is a form of external aggression.
Okay, you know what? Just hold your thoughts. We'll take this quick break and we'll be back in a moment.
Okay. Welcome back. Yes, we're still looking at the polity, and we're being joined from our Abuja studio by a rights activist, Esther Uzoma. Good morning, Esther. Thank you for joining us. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Good. Now, the insecurity in the land seems to be increasing by the day to a point where the National Assembly has invited the AI acting IG to come and explain exactly what he intends to do about it. What are your thoughts about that? What do you think he should be telling the National Assembly?
Well, the insecurity in Nigeria presently, there are a lot of factors that may have contributed to the sudden rise. But above all, the citizens, you know, not believing in this country, Nigeria, you know, so everyone behaves as if, you know, they have a duty to secure what they call their own enclaves. All right, so we have porous borders and all that, proliferation of small arms, very weak criminal justice system. And then, you know, the icing on the tea is that the agencies that are ordinary, that should ordinarily stand firmly and insist, you know, that people are brought to book, they are subject to the politics of the day. And so you see, what will the IG say then in this climate of environment? What is he going to say? He will probably tell, oh, we do not have enough men, training, sufficient, you know, all that and all that, high-tech equipment. But the truth of the matter is this, that the disbelief in this, of the citizens in the country, Nigeria, it is the greatest threat. that the sense of patriotism is lacking. That is why we find communities actually harboring dissidents. They actually, harbor them, camouflage them as members of their community. Why? Because they have lost faith in this nation, Nigeria. And the political class is not doing anything at all to reinforce the state, to provoke patriotism. So it doesn't matter the quality of equipment. Let the IG go and ask for more men. Our security system is balkanized. It depends on where you come from.
Esther.
Have you, as a practicing lawyer, if you have a matter, go to any...
Esther, I do get the feeling that you are blaming the people for all this. If you don't get protection from your country as you should, you are saying it as if it is now their fault for taking it upon themselves to provide what their government can't seem to provide for them. And anyway, patriotism cannot be, what's the word I'm looking for? You cannot legislate patriotism. Patriotism is something that builds in you.
That's right.
From what your country does for you. What you believe your country is doing for you makes you love your country, and therefore you can lay your life down for your country. But if you don't feel you're getting anything, duh.
Well, truly, I'm not blaming the people, but I'm blaming the political class. The political class is a class that sells the gospel. They preach the gospel of ethnic, division. I do not blame the Nigerian people who will ordinarily marry from anywhere and everywhere, who will ordinarily live in everywhere and anywhere. No, I blame the political class who will preach the gospel, who tell us where the fault lines are, who tell us, oh, we are divided by religion. I blame the political class. And because of the nuance of the political class, they infuse their nuance to our institutions that should ordinarily provide security. And so you find that it depends on where are you from. If you go to the south of this country, for instance, their sense of security, they have reverted to ethnic, or rather, let's say, pyramidal forms of security. If you want security, meet the man in charge of the area. And I'm not talking about the police. So the political class have sold us this gospel, that have balkanized us, that insists on telling us the differences between A and B. That is the currency of politics. You see? And so because of this, we no longer see ourselves as Nigerians. We think that hunger is ethnic. Oh, there is Yoruba hunger. There is Eastern hunger. No. The truth is that I blame the political class that have weakened our institutions, that is choking the life out of the beautiful system that should ordinarily preserve us. And so whatever the Inspector General of Police goes, whatever, let him ask for more equipment, employment, Did we not, in this country, we all stood and we were shouting about the lopsided nature of employments into Nigerian security services. That is it. That's what's playing out. And so we see, oh, it is their security.
Okay.
It is their government.
Ezekiel, you have listened to her. There's Yoruba hunger and Igbo hunger. But hunger is hunger.
Yes. Any man that expects a dog to meow or a cat to bark is wasting his time. We can start from today till eternity and blame the political class. We are wasting our time. Is it that we do not know? A man sold his house to pay for votes, to get into the National Assembly, to serve you. Are we so daft? That guy is going for something completely different. And we know it. And we pretend not to know.
So you take it back to the people now.
The elites. We seated here, we are the problem of this country, the elites. We've just finished election. How many people stood up to say, this is not right, it should not be so. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to do something about it. How many did? We sat there running commentaries, watching the television, feeling very, very holy, very, very sanctimonious. Oh, the politicians, they are useless, they are this, they are this, they are that. And we know they are going to go into the National Assembly to make the laws. Let me tell you something. The National Assembly is the most lucrative business that you can imagine today. I'll give you. People talk about their pay. No, their pay is nothing, is little. We're talking of the struggles that is going on. It's about committees. It's about the fact that right from the time of my brother and friend Timi Alaibe till now, I've been a constant factor in NDDC. I've had a one-on-one relationship with every single MD. And the pressure on these people is unimaginable. Every honorable has an agent in NDDC, either as individual or as groups. I'm saying what they know. I'm talking on a national television, and I know that I'm being listened to. So I can't come here and talk nonsense.
You're being listened to all over the world.
All over the world. They have agents in NDDC, in Central Bank, and this agent, it means that the first line of plum jobs coming out are going to honorables. If not so, your budget is not going to be passed. If not so, you're not going to get anything. Apart from that, if there is employment, the quota goes to honorables. These guys are merchants in that place. They have no business with the issue of lawmaking. And we sit down here and we expect that they are going to say, look, a tax regime economy is stifling, you know, the businesses. We cannot grow that way. Let us start to play down on tax and maybe help productivity, lessen the tax. Do you understand me?
No, anything just to help the people.
So that we transform the economy. These are people who are not going there for that.
So how do we, because she has mentioned, you know, the fact that, okay, the people expect things that could better their life, or that should better their lives from the government, you know, infrastructure, and some of these things are not there. And so the people are despondent. They don't, you know, they've lost that verve to be patriotic. So we have gotten to this level that you have mentioned now. When the guy sells his house to buy the votes, then we don't expect much. No, so how do we as a people, in the midst of all of these problems that we face, also be patriotic?
You see, Lady Alero said something. Patriotism cannot be legislated. It can't. There are two ways to approach an issue. I was one of the people that went with Madam Okonjo-Iweala to the World Bank when we were talking in terms of housing and everything. And there was a statement they made. They said, Nigeria is not going to change the land use decree or act. They are not going to change it. So what do? Walk around it. We have to find a way to walk around it. We're going to get housing, delivery, and everything. As at today, we must, as well-meaning citizens, know that, number one, we don't have a national vision. And there are two ways to have a national vision. One is to come from the system. It might not come. The other is to come from the people. And nothing stops us seated here to start to say, I take personal responsibility for this country. And before you know, you discover you're not alone. The other is not alone. I, as a person, have decided to be a one-man government in Nigeria. That's my own personal resolve. And whatever I'm going to preach patriotism, I'm going to go into entrepreneurship, I'm going to do everything. And do you know that as I'm talking, there are thousands of millions of people who just sink into that. And before you know, there's going to be a coming together. I want to advise people, encourage people. Don't give up. The day you give up, you die. Hope is the anchor that stabilizes the soul. Let us know that there are these problems, yes, but there is somewhere along the line, there's going to be a leader, there's going to be a savior. Nigeria cannot die. Not in my time. So that's my personal, so whatever politicians are doing, no problem.
So everyone should try to, encourage.
Just encourage yourself and decide to be the man in the mirror. I'll tell a very little thing that just one of my friends came to my room, to my house, and he was like, you know, Phil, I said, what's the problem? He said, my mechanic. I said, what's the problem? He said, the mechanic told him 2 weeks back that his car was to be fixed for 200,000. He fixed the car. He was very happy. So he took another car there. The man said, Oga, I bet see your money here, 180,000. I said, what's that? He said, the amount was 20,000, not 180,000. Your driver said, make I add 50,000. The other man said, make I add this. Oga, I won't blame Jonathan well. I won't blame Jonathan well. Me, I go start. Nobody say the thing where they do. Jonathan, they do. I they blame him. Oga, take your money. As from today, the one way correct, now I go do. The one way not correct, I no go do. So that when I blame Jonathan, I go blame him well. That was a mechanic. He took a personal resolve. That's from today. This is how he's going to do. But we are blaming government. We're doing the very same thing. We don't care about this country. We want them to care about this country. We don't want to do something. We want them to do something. Election came. We didn't sponsor. No, we only sponsor those who are going to win. We don't care who they are. And I don't want to waste my vote. And I don't want to waste my money on a man who will not win. So what do? You carry your money, you carry your energy, you carry your vote, and sponsor the man you know is not fit, but because you believe he will win. He wins.
And
you start to complain.
For you.
Let's go back to Abuja. Esther, you mentioned earlier about weak criminal justice system. And if we look at, you know, the cases, okay, the very popular one, the, I don't know how to pronounce the Igbo name now, Evans, that we all have heard about. Since 2017, the case is still in court. How do you think this justice system can be made to work better and faster?
All right. There are a lot of things that can be done to help the system work better and faster. One of which is the prosecutorial agencies. If you look at, you know, the laws presently, almost everybody prosecutes, you know, and most times they do not defer to the Attorney General, who should be the chief legal officer of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you find a lot of people having power to arrest, incarcerate, prosecute, and then sometimes, you know, they are challenged in court. So one of the things that should be done, therefore, is that that power to prosecute, you see, the office of the Attorney General has, you know, subtly been balkanized. You know, can we make that office of the Attorney General, you know, what it should be, a strong office that prosecutes? And besides that, whatever you bring to court, the judges will decide based on evidence, you know, placed before them. Look at the way we gather evidence. You know, we are so backward. We do not, I think there's only one place in this country where you can, you know, read fingerprints. Even though presently private security organizations have embraced, you know, that technology. And so you find that you keep coming back. Sometimes prosecution witnesses will not be around. And why won't they be around? Because today they are in Sokoto. You know, next tomorrow, if they are prosecuting a big man, he will infiltrate the system and ensure that they are posted to Imo State. And so you find the prosecutor will now come to court. Oh, my IPO has been transferred to Imo State, and look at the facts. So there's the ability to infiltrate the system, the ability of, you know, persons to actually make their wishes, ensure that the system carries on their wishes, is a huge factor in the delivery of justice. You see, but there's one thing we can all do. And right now, I think Channels is doing it. What is it? It is raising the consciousness, the awareness. You know, Alera was saying earlier on about people knowing their rights. Once you know your rights, what do you do about it? It doesn't end in the courtroom. You talk about it wherever you are. If you can build a consciousness and put pressure on the government, listen, we want this justice. I remember one of the things that happened, the victory, for instance, of the Otokoto saga was because of the pressure that was brought to bear on the judiciary in Imo State. So if everybody is asking, listen, this thing should be done, this thing should be done. If you go to the right, people are talking about it, east, west, government will definitely bow to public opinion. That pressure you bring to bear. So if our consciousness, if we can forget for a moment that we are hungry, if we can forget for a moment that NEPA is not functioning, if we can forget for a moment that our roads are bad, that malaria is killing us, and insist, listen, can these things be done right? Particularly, let the criminal be punished, and be punished openly. Faith in the system will be reinforced. I think that is one of the ways, to reinforce, sure that our system works.
Okay. We'll come back to the studio. I see that, you were nodding to most of the things that she was saying. I guess you agree with all of that.
I agree with a lot of the things she's saying. We need to come to a point where the elite should stop using the poor as a shield for their inactivity. She talked about we are hungry. We're not hungry. I'm not hungry. I'll tell you this for a fact. We talk there's no light. I have light in my house. If there's no generator, there's NEPA. If there's no NEPA, there's inverter.
That is you, not many people.
Yes, I am not alone. I'm telling you that the 5%, the 10% that control the system, the others depend on us.
Action.
Yes, they don't have a problem.
There should be a call to action.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And when we come back, Ezekiel, you brought in the National Assembly earlier. We would go there. We'll just take a short break.